Hello, everyone. So nice to see so many names pop up. Welcome to the third session of Stella Live 2021, George Northwood's Hair Masterclass. My name is Sonia Haria, and I'm the Beauty Director at The Telegraph. Over the next 45 minutes, we are going to be hearing all of George Northwood's top tips and tricks for your post-lockdown hairstyle as he demonstrates 2 looks live with us today. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome my guest, George Northwood, master of effortlessly chic haircuts and styles, and of course with celebrity clients such as Alexa Chung and Rosie Huntington-Whiteley. So welcome, George. Hello, how are you today?
Hi Sonia. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm very good. How are you?
I'm really well, thank you. This weather's thrown me off a little bit, but
yeah,
rain in June. It's all good. So how has everything been since you've been back at work? So salons reopened the 12th of April, didn't they? So has it been really buzzy and really busy since you've been back?
Yeah, I have to say this this in and out of lockdown, every time we've come out of lockdown, and this one in particular, because I think it felt so long and a lot of people didn't get their pre-Christmas cuts. The 12th of April for the first sort of 6 weeks, I would say, was just absolute insanity. It's actually just beginning to sort of calm down now, I would say, and get to some sort of normality. So yeah, but it's been so great. We've really learned how special the salon environment is because people just love coming in and they've really missed that experience. So yeah, it's been great.
And have you found many of your clients have been going for quite drastic haircuts and styles, or are they kind of easing their way back into kind of being back in the hairdresser's chair?
I would say, yeah, there's been a lot of drastics. I think a lot of people have thought, sod it, I'm just going to go for it. It's 2 extremes. People have either come in wanting so much cut off and something really, really drastic, or they've actually, a lot of my clients have grown their hair. People that I never would have expected ever to grow their hair have finally grown it. So it's kind of a bit of both, drastic and longer than ever. So it's nice.
Amazing. So we're going to be doing 2 hairstyles today. Now, for anyone that doesn't know, one of George's very sort of the moment hairstyles is the flat iron wave. Now, this is, I feel like it sums up 2021 in a hairstyle because it's effortless. It's very sort of, it's very suitable for the summer, isn't it? It's a good hairstyle for quite a lot of lengths as well. What do you think, George?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great style, and it will kind of combat any frizz, and it kind of works with anything, and it's quite a modern look that a lot of people are really looking for at the moment, and it's a bit of a breakaway and a change from the tong. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so what is the flat iron wave?
So basically the flat iron wave is obviously it's a wave created with the flat iron instead of the tong. So most people are used to using a tong or a curling iron, some people call it, but the flat iron wave is creating a wave using the straightening iron, the flat iron. And I think a lot of people do own a flat iron or a straightening iron at home. So it's a great way to just kind of reuse this tool, as it were. And you actually get a more sort of edgy, editorial, or just kind of I would say just a much more natural looking wave. As the tongs are always a bit dangerous, you can always go a little bit party curl or a bit too, which is a look, but I think a lot of people want a more gentle natural wave, and I think with the flat iron you've got more chance of achieving that. So yeah, and it also is very good, like I said before, very thick. It works for most hair types, very thick, coarse hair types as well. You get the benefit of it flattening it at the same time. So it kind of, you get a wave and a smoothness to it, which is, again, with a tong, you can sometimes end up with hair a bit bigger, which is a different look. But yeah, so there's many advantages to the flat iron wave.
And do you feel like it's a bit more of a sort of daytime look? Like you can kind of get away with it for more scenarios rather than obviously using a tong. Whenever I think of using a tong, it's always for an event or for an occasion, which obviously there are very few of now. But is the flat iron wave a bit more kind of your everyday, making your hair look a bit more done every day, I suppose?
Yeah, I would say that's true. I think that the flat iron wave gives you a definite more just natural, relaxed, like it's almost not been styled look. just that kind of just fresh out of the sea, sort of dried on the beach kind of vibe, which is very casual. So I'd agree with that for sure. As to, you know, with a tong, you'll get more of like a done look. So this is definitely, you're right to say that it's more of a very natural everyday look.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, so we've got the lovely Freya here.
Yeah.
Hi, Freya. Thank you for being our model today.
Thank you for having me.
So apologies, you're not going to see all of me, but I thought the most important thing is you see my hands and the beautiful Freya. So I want to give you the best kind of, you know, I want you to see as much as possible. So I'm just going to do the sides, obviously, to start with, just to kind of, because they're the bits you can see clearly. So maybe what I'll even try and do is get it so that for this, yeah. So Freya's just got very naturally straight hair here. So it's just kind of smooth. It's not been ironed or anything, because that would obviously then make it straight, like flat iron straight. So it's just natural, smooth hair. You can start off with whatever hair you've got, because the flat iron will smooth it at the same time. So, you know, you can just come to this as long as your hair's dry. Don't put the flat iron on damp hair, because it will sort of burn the hair and you'll hear like a sizzling sound. So, yeah. Just dry hair is the only requirement. You might want to put a bit of heat protection on first. We've washed this has just been washed with a good shampoo and conditioner. We've just, you know, we use my undirty shampoo and conditioner on this, just because we want it nice and simply clean. We don't want any kind of fuss or nonsense. We just want it to sort of really take and hold the wave. So we've just gone for the simple undirty shampoo and conditioner. And if you want a little bit of heat protection is always good, any kind of heat protection. But, you know, so yeah, so here we go. The hair's dry. Going to get the flat iron. Now the section is probably about as deep as the flat iron itself, I would say. So okay. We're going to take this first section, and then it's all in the that's perfect, yeah. Where you are actually, like that. So yeah, that's really good. So yeah, and then I'm going to go up and I'm going to go down in a zigzaggy motion, like an S shape, if you like. Wow. And you can see what you end up with.
Oh, that's amazing.
Can you see if you look straight?
So are you moving your wrist as you're going down?
Yeah, I'm doing the wrist in like an S. I'm like doing an S. So if you can imagine you're doing it on yourself, it's actually easier, because again with the tong, what happens is people get a bit, oh God, am I doing it the right way? Yeah. Is it working? You know, it's a wrapping motion. As to the flat iron, it's just up and down in like an S-shaped zigzags. It's very, very, it's kind of, I don't want to say it's foolproof, because it's easy. Go on.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of amazingly simple.
Yeah.
If you're essentially just bending the hair as you iron it straight.
Yeah. So here we go. I'm going to go in, clamp the hair. I'm going to go, and then I'm just going to do, and I'm doing them quite exaggerated, because Freya's got such long hair that it will just drop anyway. But if it was shorter hair, I could probably do less of an exaggerated, so you can see.
Oh, wow. Amazing. So will it work on most hair lengths and textures, would you find?
Yeah, I would say most hair lengths and textures. It's actually, if you've got very fine hair, finer hair, actually the wave will actually give it body and width. So it's really good for finer hair. And also, like I said before, for thick, coarse hair, it will flatten it down. So actually, it's quite a win-win scenario in terms of all hair. It does really work on all hair types.
I absolutely love that.
Oh, thanks.
And it looks sort of, you know, it's got that like effortless kind of sort of beachy look without looking. I feel like sometimes with kind of beachy hairstyles, it can look a little bit sort of messy, whereas this still looks really sort of polished and yeah. Kind of grown up, yeah. Doesn't it?
Yeah. And the thing is as well, the tighter the sort of zigzags, you can almost make it quite crimped if you just went like this. No one really wants a crimpy look, but The most important thing is I usually tend to go up to start with. Don't ask me why. I just do. And then the only other thing I do is I always make sure at the end I go on an inward. So at the end I don't come out, because otherwise, if you can imagine, if I did it out, you end up with a flick. What we want is nice bevel ends. You can see how beautiful it just really, it really frames the face.
I mean, I absolutely love that. Is there anything else you need to bear in mind for the front sections? Do you need to treat them any differently, or do you kind of just incorporate that in the same motion?
I would say with a tong, yes, you have to be quite careful with the front, but with the flat iron, no. I think with the flat iron, you can be quite... it doesn't really matter with the front, because often a lot of times the hair's shorter at the front. You might want to just be careful not to go too ziggy-zaggy, because you could end up with it a bit crimpy looking. But no, I don't think so. This is what's so good about the flat iron wave, is there's less rules about, with a tong, it's like, do I tong it away from the face, on the face? What way do I wrap it round? I find that most people, when I demo this, are really surprised at how easy it is. The only rule is go in at the bottom. You saw there, I just went in at the bottom. So the only rule is when you get to the bottom, go inwards, not outwards, because if I would end up with the flick. That's the only real rule.
Yeah, so Liz has just asked in the audience, there we go. Great. And Susan's just asking, how long does this flat iron wave last, do you think?
Unless you get rained on, which is likely today, unless you get rained on, it will last until you wash it, because it's only really when you wash the hair does it return back to its natural, original state of, how your hair is. So, and also I have to say, it doesn't drop that much. It will drop a bit, but because the irons get quite hot and you're clamping the hair, you're really sealing it in. So it will drop a little bit, but it will last until you next wash it, I would say. Get rained on.
And in terms of the sections, is there a certain amount of hair that you need in each section, or do you does it depend on the thickness and density of your own hair?
It does depend on the thickness and density. You'll kind of get to learn that over time. But I would say I'm going about 2 centimeters. So, I'm probably taking about that much hair, each time. So I'm coming around the face here. So you'll see up, down, up.
Amazing. And now, George, you've been very busy in lockdown because you've launched your own brilliant hair range, which is available at Boots, and we're going to pop in all the links into the chat box. But is there anything in the range that would help to fix the style if you wanted to kind of really give it longevity?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that. And as I get to the top, this is going to be a really useful time.
Amazing.
I said before about hair heat protection. Well, actually, I brought out one of the key products I brought out was called wave holding spray. Can't probably see it there, but the link will come up, I'm sure. It's called wave holding spray, and basically it's designed to help seal the wave in place and provide heat protection. So, for example, Freya's hair's taking really well here, but if I wanted to sort of like give it extra hold, and I think most people will benefit from this, what I'll then do is let's have a look. I'll grab my section, and then all you do with this spray is you sort of lightly spritz it. I've just lightly spritzed it. You probably can't see it. Freya, hold that for me there. And then, so you just lightly spritz it. It might make a slight sizzle when you put the flat iron on, but don't worry, it's a product it's designed to work like this, so it's not like it's water. So, and then I'm going to go up, and I'm going to do the same as I did before, but with the heat, what you'll notice is you get a stronger, you probably can't see it on camera, but it's actually, what I do notice is you get a slightly tighter bend because it doesn't drop so much, and it will last longer. It will just hold it. It gives it the holding factor. So yeah, it's just good to use as heat protection. It works with tongs or flat irons, and it's just a really nice product to just put on before you tong or even flat iron your hair. So I'm going to, here we go, just spray it from root to tip. Hold that for me there. And then I'm going to go.
I must say, I've been using this myself over the last few months. It's the Undone Wave Holding Spray, Liz, in the chat box. So I've been using it myself over the last couple of months, and what I love is that it's not got that kind of crunchiness or crispiness that you find with some holding sprays can kind of leave quite a producty feel in the hair.
Yes.
Whereas this kind of still leaves your hair quite soft and flexible, but still gives you that hold, doesn't it?
Yeah. And because the great thing is because you're spraying it in before you put the hot appliance on, you actually just seal it in, and therefore once it's been done, like if I'm running it through, I put the product on now and I'm running it through, and now it doesn't actually feel like it's got any product in, because what the iron's done is just sealed it into the hair, and it will just give it some hold. So if you can see, so
that's so beautiful. It looks like she's been for a professional blow dry. I mean, obviously she is in the hands of a master hairstylist, but it sort of looks like, you know, it actually looks like a style that that we can all do at home.
Yeah, absolutely. And also just a good tip is a lot of people are finding with this wave holding spray, they're spraying it in damp and scrunching the hair and letting it dry naturally. And they're also, the next day when you wake up, spritzing it on and just scrunching it a bit to kind of reinvigorate the wave. So, you know, do have fun with the product and do kind of, you know, try a few different things, you know, just, you know, sometimes with naturally wavy hair, just spritzing it and giving it a scrunch the next day just means you don't have to wash it. It just revitalizes the wave and the hair. Because a lot of people will sleep on their wave and wake up who've got naturally wavy hair, and it can be a bit kind of, it's lost its luster.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and just sort of, and then the only other tip is I would say is if you're doing this yourself, say for Freya, she's doing herself, bring the hair from the back to the front. So what Freya could do is she could bring, you kind of reach the hair from the back forward, and then what Freya would do is tong it herself, flatten it from the front. So you don't have to get to the back of your head. You just bring all, like for now, say I want to do the top at the back here. All I'm going to do, so I'm at the back of the head here, I'm going to just bring it round to the side. Again, I'm going to put wave holding spray on. Hold that for me. And bringing it, so this is the hair right from the back, and then I'm going to go down. So easy. It's like an S shape or a zigzag. You can see that piece there. Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. It's certainly a style that that I'll be trying. Is it something that's quite good kind of in the heat as well? Like, is it a good summer style?
Yes. Because the great thing is, because you've used the flat iron, and the flat iron, what the flat iron has done is really baked it in, so you've really put the heat through it, it will really hold it. I often say clients that are kind of worried about their hair, get the humidity getting into it, or even if it's going to slightly rain, I mean, if you get it wet, it's going to just drop. But, you know, just even if you're going to get a bit of drizzle, which we know a lot about here in the UK, especially, you know, it will really help. So it really kind of helps protect the hair against the weather, this style.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I love it. And shall we move on to the next style? So are we going to sort of transition from the flat iron wave into an interesting updo?
Yes, we're going to do, I've chosen a half up, half down style today, just because I think with this weather, everyone wants to get the hair sort of off the face.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes it's nice to sort of leave some hair coming down, but the hair sort of often hanging at the back doesn't really sort of get you hot like the hair around the face. So we're going to do like a half bun. So what we're going to do is, and what works really well is it's quite nice if you've got a wave in the hair. So if you've already flat iron waved, say the whole thing, I did before we came on, I just flat iron waved the underneath at the back here because I didn't want to bore everyone with just me waving the whole thing. So it's just all been flat iron wave now, even the back. So it's a lovely base. If you've got natural waves, you can just start with that. It works with straight hair as well. But now we've put this gorgeous wave in, which I think is a nice touch. We're now going to convert this into a half up, half down bun. So, so what we'll do is, I think for this, let's turn Freya on the side. So yeah. Face that way. Freya.
Sure.
The other way. Perfect. Yeah, that's really... You can see the wave there from the side. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab the hair. Let's see. So you're just going to section the hair in half. So you're going to go from the ear up to the crown on both sides. You can do. I'm just using my fingers for this.
And is it a style that would work for shorter hair as well as longer hair, George?
Yeah, that's what's really good about this style, because you're only tying the top up. It works with like a bob. It's quite nice because you've got a bob, and you can see what you get is you get a real lift here. You know, it gives you almost a bit of a nice eye lift, because if you pull it quite tight there, you get a nice lift. So what I'm going to do is, you can see, going to get this section of hair. Just use my fingers. So if you're doing it on yourself, you literally just most people are used to just grabbing half the hair and putting it, like you were a pony, but you're only doing half of the head. And actually, if the line's a little bit messy, it doesn't really matter that much. It looks kind of cool. So what we're going to do now, but you can do this really sleek if you want. I'm just going to use my fingers and pull it all back into the bun. And what we're going to do is, once you've divided it in half, like this. Okay. I think that's nice. I'm going to get a ponytail. So it's just half the hair in a ponytail. Let's have a look. Just look over it. Yeah, nice. Again, just fingers are the best thing. I'm just using my fingers to sort of pull it back, because then it looks a bit more undone and a bit messy.
Yeah. And it's kind of lovely away, like you say, off the face. It's so nice in the heat, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And now I'm just going to tie it into a ponytail in place. So I've pulled it into a half ponytail. Now I'm going to tie it in place. That's fine. Tie it nice and tight. And this is a really good tip. Most people benefit from a bit of height at the front of the hair. So, it gives you almost a bit of a lift. So if you've got height on top, it elongates your face.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do is, you can see here, I'm just going to pull the top bit of the hair up. And all that will do is it will elongate the face.
Ah, amazing.
So you can have a look forward here. Can you see from Freya now what she's done? What we're doing is we're elongating the face.
I love that. So it kind of gives the illusion of a sort of longer face.
Yeah. So it elongates the face. So look forward again. And then we're going to take the ponytail here, which is the top bit. What I might actually do here is, I think probably the best thing to do is maybe spray it with a bit of hairspray. So any hairspray would do. Just to give it some guts, I would say.
Which hairspray do you like using, George?
This one here is the Redken Fashion Works hairspray. It's really nice, really fine mist. And then what I might do is backcomb the hair ponytail a little bit, just kind of push into the hair. This is optional. But it just makes, what this will do is just thicken the pony. As you can see now, the pony's getting quite thick. And I'm just kind of going in with the comb and back combing. This is optional, you don't have to do this. This is just to give it some guts. So I've got a nice thick ponytail there. And then I'm gonna get some grips. So get some grips, the colour of your hair. These are black grips because that will work in Freya's hair. So if you hold those for me, Freya. Okay, and then I'm going to twist. Oh, you can see my dog's making an appearance in the corner there. I'm going to twist the hair round itself like a rope. and then keep twisting it till I can twist no more, and then just creating a bun, almost like a bun or a knot, sort of just keep wrapping it round itself. And it's quite nice if you leave a little bit, you don't put the end, like the end of it is kind of out.
Yes.
So I've left that kind of end bit out. It's just quite nice. You don't want it to look too smart. You want it to look a bit messy. It's kind of more of a daytime look. Or with summer, everyone's wearing more casual clothing. Look nice in a little summer dress. And then with the grips, as you can see, I'm just gonna secure it in place with some grips. So I'm just gonna grip into the hair through the bun and into the hair. So I'm just kind of, yeah. So
wonderful. And so what hair ties are you using? Are there any
hair ties? A regular. This is just a black hair tie.
Regular.
You can get somewhere like Boots. You know, again, same with the grips.
Yes.
So yeah, we're just gonna. You don't need many of them. And it should be, you know, I'm not going to make it too, and then I might just kind of stretch it out and make it a bit bigger so it's not too,
Yeah.
So it's got a bit.
Catherine's just asked, do you have any general tips for updos in terms of sectioning and where to place the part when the hair is up? So it's kind of essentially how much hair do we need when we're sectioning, and how do you kind of play the parting? Do you sometimes leave a part in? Do you push it all the way back?
Well, yeah, you can do either really. So as you can see here with Freya, if you look forward, Freya, I've done, this has all just gone back. There is no parting. But sometimes it depends what if you're someone that enjoys a side parting, then I would wear it as a side part. If you're someone who enjoys centre part, I would centre part it in. So if it was their ponytail, it all really, that completely changes the look. Sometimes having an updo with a deep side parting can make it look kind of a bit more evening-y or a bit dressy, as to a centre parting can be a bit more casual. So play around with it. There's no really rules in terms of the parting, but when you're backcombing the direction you want it to go almost as well. That's another good tip for sectioning. So if you're going to sort of section, just sort of play around with it. A good tip is maybe don't look in the mirror when you're working, because everything's reverse and back to front, so it can be quite confusing. Have a mirror on standby, but don't keep looking at yourself in the mirror like I keep showing Freya herself there. But you know, when you're working on yourself, look away to actually do it, because everything's opposite when you're working in front of a mirror. So yeah.
Sorry, I'm just going to fire some more questions over to you if that's okay.
Please do.
We've had quite a few questions about kind of short hairstyles. Are there any new short hairstyles that you've been sort of playing around with in the salon, and anything sort of new that we can try with shorter hair?
Yeah, shorter hair. I've been doing quite a lot of. I mean, if it's going to be short, I like the idea of sort of a bit of a razored kind of cut. So something that's a bit choppy and a bit feathery and wispy. So if you're going to a hairdresser and you've got shorter hair, ask for something maybe a bit wispy and feathery. I always think the best thing is, there's always this thing where people think, well, I can't take pictures to my hairdresser, but actually you can. Just go in and sort of like, if you ever see a picture in a magazine of something that you really like, tear it out and take it to the hairdresser, you know, but for me, something short, wispy, feathery, maybe cut with the razor is really nice. Or I'm seeing quite a lot of I'm doing quite a lot of quite short bobs. So perhaps if you want shorter hair, you've got really short hair, grow it to a bob and have it quite sort of graphic and blunt, or even just kind of, I love sort of bobs, and you can kind of wear them a bit choppy and messy and sort of chop into it, or you can leave it really blunt. So if you've got longer hair, try chopping it off, or if you've got shorter hair, grow it. Like these short kind of jaw skimming bobs, I think are quite a thing. Yeah, amazing.
We've had a couple of questions about whether the flat iron wave and also the half up wave is good for all ages. I mean, I certainly think so. What do you think, George?
Yeah, I think the flat iron wave is suitable for all ages. I think having a length that's appropriate to yourself. So, you know, I think like the flat iron wave, the flat iron bob works really well. We did a piece with you guys. I think that might have even been shown how that, you know, Lisa wrote something where it's like the flat iron bob is a real, it really works well on bobs, this flat iron wave.
Yeah.
So it's a real thing. Because also, if you've got a bob and you're tonging it, it can go quite wide. So a flat iron wave on a bob works really well because it kind of really sort of flattens it down and makes it look quite modern. So I would say that would be a really good, that would work really well. And even on quite a short bob, you can, or if you've say got short hair, you could just kind of use the iron to sort of just manipulate. I've got some clients that wear like sort of quite a short flicky cut, and I just use the irons to flick out the sides. So that's quite a good, that works quite well. Yeah.
Amazing. I'm just going to keep firing off some questions because
I'm going to put some little bit, just so for whatever you're doing, I'm going to put some of my hair moisturizer on, which is another great product. And I'm just going to put like a tiny sort of pea-sized amount, well, one pump, I would say, of the hair moisturizer. And I'm just going to put that through the very ends here. So just show you. With any kind of cream or serum, and this is, like I said, this is my hair moisturizer, but any cream or serum, you just kind of start from the ends and then you sort of work upwards because you don't want too much product on the very roots. So I'm just kind of, and as you can see, what's happened here, and I'm just going to use the moisturizer then to just kind of, now my hands haven't got much on, I'm just going to then just kind of go in and just smooth this. And then what I might do is just finish with a little bit of hairspray. If you look forward for a sec, what happens is it can get a little bit fluffy at the sides, but I quite like if you just want to kind of give it a spritz, or even spritz your hand is a good tip. If you've got flyaways on your parting, this is a really good tip. Put the hairspray on your hand and then kind of just, you can see that.
I love that.
Yeah, that will really kind of, so really chic and make it a bit more. But yeah, that's the kind of look. I might just kind of, as you ask me more questions, I might just give a bit more of a flat iron wave here at the back. So yeah, please fire away any more questions.
Amazing. Okay, great. Yes, we've got loads of questions. So Christina has asked, is there a look that you'd suggest for sort of low maintenance, good hairstyle to hide developing jowls? So for a more sort of oval face shape. I'm not sure, Christina, if your hair is kind of currently long or short, but is there anything, George, that you recommend for kind of more oval face shapes?
Yeah, or anything that, you know, it's a really common thing where people get to a certain age where they feel a bit jowly or they feel that they need a stronger jawline, and it's a really common thing. And anything, I would say, have a sharper haircut. Avoid anything, I mean, I know it's something bob-like or something that goes longer at the front, because if you're worried about, say, your jawline here, I think the worst thing sometimes for that could be to remove the corners. So don't go for something a bit bowl-like, or don't go for anything like that's too shaggy and long at the back, because you almost need the strength here at the front, because you've got to think, if your jawline isn't that strong, then you need a strong haircut. So just kind of, again, you know, I don't just want to harp on about bobs, but, you know, if it's a stronger jawline you want and less jowly, go for a really sharp bob, not like anything wispy or choppy.
I love that. Amazing. So Catherine asked about flyaways when she puts her hair up, but I feel like that hairspray tip is a real
tip is really good. Yeah. Also, do remember that flyaways often do calm down, so don't sort of react to them the minute that you see them in the hair. They do kind of tend to sort of calm themselves down a little bit over time. So don't go mad, but definitely the best thing you can do is put a little bit of hairspray on your hands and then just literally run it through the area that's a little bit flyaway, or take a brush, like I've got a Mason and Pearson brush here. You could, any sort of brush that's got a bristle to it, you could almost spray hairspray onto the brush, you can see that, and then sort of lightly brush the flyaways. And what it will do, you can actually do this with a toothbrush. That's one tip I learned on set once from someone. You carry a toothbrush in my kit, and Obviously I only have it for hair. It's not a hair toothbrush, but you just spray a bit of hairspray on a toothbrush and then just go in at those bits to sort of really smooth it out. Yeah.
Amazing, I love that.
Really good for oily, textured, Afro hair would work really well with that technique as well.
Amazing. And does your do you find that actually when your hair grays, the texture changes, and should that then impact the type of haircut that you need to have?
Yes, absolutely. What happens is when your hair, that's the small print of going grey. What they don't really tell you about is the texture changes as well as the colour. And it can be tough because you're used to this lovely, soft, silky hair, and then all of a sudden you find that your hair goes a bit more coarse. Like I've got white hair and my hair is really coarse and frizzy, and if I try and grow it, it's awful. So, and this is the same for curls, like, thirsty sort of hair, that tends to get frizzy as well. But yeah, when the hair's going grey, they don't tell you that the texture changes a little bit. So sometimes if your percentage of white's getting greater, maybe it's time to go for something that shows off that slightly different texture of hair. So wear something a bit textured, like a bit of a shaggy cut, or a bit of a sort of a nice something that kind of plays with the texture. But also some colour, if you're going to have your hair coloured, or there's treatments that you can get that really help put that moisture back into the hair that you lose, where it sort of loses some of its vitality. Some people are very lucky and their hair goes silver and it stays shiny and very silver, but the predominant, I would say most people find their hair lacks shine as it gets silver. Also, let the hair dry naturally, because then it will really retain the moisture. Don't sort of blast it with dry naturally. Put some of the hair moisturizer on and then just kind of let it dry. And that's a really good tip with curls. If you're going to, with curly hair, just put some hair moisturizer in, or sort of any kind of serum or cream, put it in and let it dry naturally. Like curly sort of hair doesn't really like tools too much. It doesn't like hair dryers because it just kind of causes more frizz. And diffusers are great because they don't blow it, they just kind of dry it almost naturally.
Amazing. Oh, that's really good to know. We've had a couple of questions about can you create the flat iron wave or a similar style if you were using tongs?
Yeah, absolutely. Tongs are really, you can. I mean, I'll give you a little bit of a bonus demo here. So I've got a tong here available. Tongs are, I would say tongs are the original way to give you a wave in your hair. I mean, I was tonging hair long before I was doing flat iron waves. That's kind of, the flat iron waves a relatively newer technique. And I've been explaining all the benefits of that. So if you're going to tong a wave, the best thing you can do is take a section. I'm going to take a section back here from underneath. So obviously it won't take so well now because it's already been flat iron wave. Once you put one very hot appliance through the hair, that kind of seals it in place. So it's very hard to do a second. But if you are going to tong, put the tong on the hair, whether it's under or underneath, doesn't really matter. Tong around, hold it for a bit. You leave the root and the end out. You don't put the ends. I'm holding on to the end so I don't burn myself. You don't want to go too near to the face. And then you pull it at the end. And, but can you see instantly there, it's almost gone more curly than wavy, which is fine, but that's what we've been saying all along. So if I can show you the difference between a flat iron wave, and a flat iron wave looks, the tong wave looks more of a curl almost, and the flat iron wave just looks like a very natural, almost like a crimp. You can see the two differences there.
Absolutely, so, I love that.
Yeah, it's nice to show the difference. Yeah, go on.
And what does that tip of once you've tonged the hair, pulling it at the end, what does that do? That
kind of, again, because the dangers with tonging are that it ends up, that's already, I pulled that and that's already quite curly, it's actually quite nice. Like, it's more evening-y, it's a bit more bridally, like bridesmaids would often, a bride would have this kind of, because you'd want it to look quite polished. But the reason that you pull it at the end is because where it cools is where it sets. So by pulling it, you allow it to sort of cool down and set slightly straighter. If you want more of a curl and you don't want it to be, just tong it, take it out, and you'll have a bit of almost a curl. So, you know, pull it if you want it to stretch and not be too tight, you know?
Right, that's really good to know. We've had a couple of questions about getting volume in the roots and the crown of the head. What's the best way to get a bit of extra oomph at the top of the head?
To the top of the head, the best thing to do for volume is use what people are finding is I actually launched this shampoo called Unpolluted, and it's a deep cleansing. It's marketed as a weekly detox shampoo, but it's actually a deep cleansing shampoo. And what I'm finding people are saying is they're getting so much body in their hair because their hair, it's really getting the hair clean. You got to think anything that's in your hair, and you're living in a city, pollution, you know, just kind of daily grime, whatever, you know, whatever's on the hair, you know, if you really get the hair clean, then it's going to really lift it, because everything on the hair weighs it down. So a deep cleansing shampoo, like an Unpolluted shampoo, which is our weekly detox one, a lot of my clients are using that all the time, and that will deeply cleanse the hair and give it the body. And so many people are finding they're getting body. Don't condition the hair, or if you need conditioner, just use a little bit of conditioner on the mid lengths and ends. Don't go mad, because everything like that weighs it down. So deep cleansing shampoo, light conditioner, and then I've just launched this volumizer, which has gone nuts actually, because I've realized so many people have this issue with volume and want more volume. So spray loads of volume spray through the roots, kind of really get in there. Or some people prefer a mousse. So put your volumizing product in the roots. Don't, like I say, don't put conditioner on. Just use a volumizing spray once it's towel dried, and then really kind of blast the hair upside down and sort of stretch it out. And I would say blast your hair upside down, and then when you lift up, it will be kind of a bit mad and a bit wild, and then you can kind of smooth it into the shape that you want, because really when you're drying it, you want to just really stretch it and create that body.
Amazing.
So,
a couple more questions about grey hair. Ruth has asked any advice about sort of that sort of transition stage between growing out grey hair. Is there anything any styles you could try, or any types of products, like would blue or purple shampoos work in that instance?
If what in the in-between thing of growing out grey hair? Well, a lot of the time, what I really love to see is I love to see so many people now embracing their grey hair. It's like, why is it okay for, you know, men to have silver hair and it's seen as distinguished, and you know, but for women it's like, oh, I've got to hide my grey. For me, I think grey should be something maybe to celebrate sometimes, and sometimes just allowing some of your grey through, I think, is enough. Like, yeah, we all know, for even men and women, everyone, it can be quite an aging thing, the grey hair, but your skin tone changes with the greying hair. So I think to embrace some of it is a good idea. So going from tinted hair, maybe just let it grow and just have some lowlights through it. So you're still having color done, but you're not trying to cover it and mask it all. So, you know, if you're trying to grow it out, go to just leave it as long as you can, or just give it that couple of extra, eke out a couple of extra weeks, and just have some lowlights through it. Just have like some color put through, or highlights through it. Don't kind of, you know, and I think that's the way to be. I think it's nice to have some color, and it's like nice to sort of, you know, have some bespoke work done on the color. But I think it's now acceptable to see silver hair, or grow it out. And also another good thing to do in between is you can get great hair coloring pens or hair sprays, like they do dry shampoo with color pigments in, or you can get like hair mascara, Color Wow, and all those products they're just like temporary hair color. So you just paint it in, and then when you wash it, it comes out. So that's a really good tip. But if you are going to go grey, just remember that because the grey is, not saying it should be, but it's seen as an aging thing, have a slightly more modern cut to counteract the perception of aging hair. So, you know, if you're going to go silver, maybe just have a slightly more modern haircut to counteract the fact that it's silver. So you're saying, yeah, I'm owning this, but I'm having a modern haircut as well. I think that's just a nice thing to do.
Amazing. And I'm going to make this my last question, because I can't believe we've already been speaking for 45 minutes. But,
where's that gone?
I know, where has that gone? Natalia has asked, would you recommend layers or no layers for just below shoulder length fine hair? So if you've not got a lot of hair, what's the best cut?
Controversially, because it was always for so long, it was this thing of like, oh, I've got fine hair, I've got to have layers. And actually, all layers are doing is removing hair from the head. So I often steer away from layers and I keep the hair more one length, because then it just looks thicker. Sometimes that layered sort of, everyone was doing it in the 90s, weren't they? That kind of layered look can look quite, it can look a little bit dated, but also it depends how it's done, but also it just takes the hair away. So I tend to sort of say leave the hair one length, and then I do like a little bit of shaping around the face. So a little bit of like, some people call it feathering, or just kind of nice shape around the face, or grown out fringe. Like, focus on having some shape around the face, which will give you a lift and give it some interest. But I would say keep the rest of it longer. And for body, instead of relying on layers, tong a few bits or flat iron wave a few bits. If your hair's very fine, maybe go for a tong, because you get a bigger sort of you get more of a curl, which makes it look thicker, which is why they used to perm hair, because it would thicken hair. So maybe if you've got fine hair, go for a tong, so that you get a bit more of a thickness. Yeah, I've got so many on all my channels. There's so much YouTube and Instagram content of like different tutorials of how to do anything. So, you know, and I'm working on stuff all the time. So if there's anything people want to see, just let me know.
I must say, and I think I told you at the last Stella Live, but your YouTube channels helped me massively in lockdown. It's just kind of play around with my own hair and kind of give me fresh ideas on what to do and how to actually do my hair, because actually it's once, as soon as your hairdresser isn't in your life, you're suddenly like, oh gosh, now I've got to really think about how my hair grows and changes as it grows and that sort of thing. So yes, we just popped a link to George's fabulous YouTube.
Thank you. There's so much more to come on YouTube. So if there's anything you don't see that you want, let us know. But I'm working on content. I'm going to work on some stuff for curly hair that's coming. So, and the tools, I'm about to launch my tools, and I'm going to do 3 ways to use the tongs and stuff. So there's so much more to come, but I love to hear what people want.
And you've got your own flat iron in your range as well, haven't you?
Yeah, this is what I've been using today. Here it is. So yeah.
Amazing.
So yeah, that launches the end of the month. Actually, I think it's available now. So yeah, hot off the press.
Wonderful, amazing. Well, thank you, George, and thank you for the audience for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed the session. I certainly have, and I'm genuinely going to go and do my own flat iron wave now. Thank you, everyone.